Hello, and welcome to Living Beyond Limits. I am Reverend Jennifer Spear, and we are a part of Centers for Spiritual Living. I am so glad that you've joined us here for our online service today. When we normally meet in person with each other, one of the things that we do at the beginning of our service is say good morning to the people that are sitting near us. And what really happens is it becomes a big love fest in the room. And so since we aren't together personally right now, what I invite you to do is to close your eyes for a moment and to imagine some of those people that sit near you. And if you don't normally attend our Sunday services, I invite you just to hold in your mind's eye some of the people that you love in this world, some of the people that are important to you. And so just imagine in your mind's eye that you are actually sending them some of your love, that you are wrapping them in that energy of love. And as you do that also, I invite you to see them standing in their own wholeness and in their own power. And so know that as you are doing that for someone, there is someone else who is watching this video and who is doing the same thing for you, sending you their love, sending you that energy of you being in your wholeness and you standing in your power. And what happens is as we do that, we are actually sending a blessing to each other. And so as we begin our service today, I'm going to invite our practitioner, Ray Bunch, to come forward. He's going to lead us in an evocation as we begin to evoke an awareness of the presence of the divine that is always right where we are. And then our new in-house reader, Colleen Lynn, is going to come forward and do a reading for us. And so I invite you just to begin to kind of settle into yourself, to find that place at the very center of your being where there is stillness, where there is silence, the part of you that is not affected by the outside world, but is just beingness itself. And for a moment, just to rest in that.
So just join me in a remembering for that's what I really believe an invocation is. For it's all God. For me, I just need to stop and become aware of the weight of my own body and just sink into the center of my own beingness. And I feel the earth and the sky and the four directions. And I sense and feel myself as the center. And from here, I become aware that my body and everything that is physical about it comes from the earth. And just like a good mother, it takes good care of me. It feeds me. It warms me. And it can and does take my anxiety and fears as I just let them sink on out of my physical body and right down into the earth. And I think about the sky as that little spark of light that they call stardust that each and every one of us also are made out of. And I think about that as the commander of my brain, actually. And I'm so grateful for that sense of intelligence, of that connection, of that realization that there is just one mind, one energy, one source, and that it is always present. It is present right now in this room, it's present wherever you're at watching this video. And it's always supporting us, loving us, and willing to do for us whatever we allow to come through us. So I allow the gratitude to come through me right this moment, as I am grateful for Reverend Jennifer and her abilities to channel the truth as she knows it, that seems to ring so often with the truth as I know it. And I love this source. I love this in community, and I'm grateful for the time to be here. And I just release and move into the perfection of this time. And I say thank you. And so it is. Thank you very much.
My reading today is from 365 Days of Richer Living by Ernest Holmes and Raymond Charles Barker. When we meditate on spiritual thoughts, we are affirming the presence of God in, around, and through us. It is this close and immediate feeling of divine presence, actively stated, that gives power to our words. The words themselves have no power without this deep feeling back of them. It is because we believe in a power greater than we are that we can have this feeling, this inner conviction, this sense of certainty, which all spiritual teachers have told us is necessary for effective prayer. Effective prayer is an acknowledgement of the presence and the power of good. It is an acknowledgement of this presence close to us and this power acting on our acceptance. I believe that the Spirit within me, which is God, made perfect and happy the way before me. I enter into conscious union with everything that lives. I put my whole trust in God. I know that the Spirit gently leads me, wisely counsels me. I know that the love which envelops everything flows through me to freedom, a buoyant enthusiasm for living, and a zest for life. And that comes back to me today. Everything that makes life worthwhile. Everything that is good, beautiful, and true. And so it is.
So I think you're both awesome. Thank you very much. And so I'm going to share with you right now our mission statement from Living Beyond Limits. It says, we are a sanctuary where people can discover and reveal the presence of God within their own being and experience their oneness with all life. Through the realization of this inner presence of love and peace, we give way to the evolutionary impulse of the divine and become a beneficial presence in the world. So that's really what we're here at doing at Living Beyond Limits, is we are attending services and taking classes and being in the company of each other as a way to help us remember and move back into that place within us that knows that, yes, indeed, we are one with that divine presence. And all that divine presence is always right where we are, and all of those qualities and characteristics of the divine exist within us. They are part of the makeup of who we are. And that means then that the love of the divine, that the peace of the divine, that the truth of wholeness and of our own power, all of those qualities already live within us. Because what happens is, as we come to recognize that they are always within us, that then we don't need the outside world to tell us that's who we are. We can tap into, say, the love and the peace and bring it into the world in a way that is beneficial, in a way that is healing, in a way that changes relationships and conversations and interactions with people. And as we do that, we become a beneficial presence for those we interact with. We become a beneficial presence actually for the entire world, because, as you know, everything is connected to everything else. And so I say thank you so much for answering the call of your own spirit to be walking this path, to be awakening to your own divine nature and the fact that we do live and move and have our beingness within this presence of God, and that it's always right where we are. So thank you for that. And so regardless of what is going on in our lives, whether it's about maneuvering through this time of COVID-19 and staying safer at home, or whether it's moving into a new house or a new area, or whether it's moving into a new job or a new career, or even retiring, or whether it's having kids or having your kids move out of the house. Whatever transitions and new things and different things that we move through in our lives, we really want to be able to move through those times with a sense of peace and a sense of confidence and a sense of trust. We also want to move through those times with a deep feeling within us that everything will work out. And not just that it will work out, but that it'll actually work out for good. We want to have peace as we navigate those changes. We want to have a sense of confidence and trust. Trust that we will be okay. Trust that things will be okay. Trust that we are safe. We want to have a sense of confidence, confidence in life and confidence in ourselves, that we will know what to do and when to do it and how to do it. The problem is that so often when we move through times of change, when things are different in our lives or even different in the world, is it's so easy to get caught up in our doubts and our fears. It's so easy to get caught up in those what ifs. What if I didn't make the right decision? What if things don't work out? What if things fall apart? What if I don't have what it takes to actually maneuver through this thing in particular? And if it's a challenge in the world at large, not even just in your own life, it's really easy to fall into that manufactured fear that the media creates. It's really easy to get caught up in the speculation of people, of things that you read or things that you see on TV or even people that you talk to. It's really easy to get caught up in the cries of the naysayers, whether they be people that you know, like your parents or your children, or whether it be coworkers or neighbors, or whether it even be just the people that are on the other side of the political aisle from you. It's so easy to get caught up in all of that fear and all of that negativity. But what happens is, as we focus on the problem, that focus holds the problem in place. When we focus on the solution, or even the possibility that there is a solution, it creates an avenue within us for that solution to present itself. And so I'd like to share a story with you out of the Science of Mind magazine. It says, I saw a documentary about the training of the special forces of the U.S. military. Most people know how difficult the training is to qualify for the special forces programs. Grueling physical workouts, mental abuse, and food and sleep deprivation combined with extremely harsh conditions make many recruits reconsider their desire to become members of this elite squad. One team member interviewed in the documentary said, "This isn't abuse, it's selection. Each candidate must demonstrate not only the physical capability to do the job, but also the mental wherewithal to face the rigors that come with this difficult work." Another team member related how during his training, he and his 90 teammates endured an exhausting day of open ocean swimming, running with fully loaded backpacks, and navigating the obstacle course multiple times, often back to back. One by one, his teammates dropped out, unable or unwilling to continue the torturous testing. Finally, it was down to just him and 4 other teammates. These 5 men were told their next assignment was to take a 17-mile run. 2 of the men said to their trainers, "I can't do it. I don't have it in me." The trainer said, "You 2 are done. Pack your bag, pack your stuff, and go home. You other 3, you just passed the training." Simply because they were willing to face what was next, despite their own fatigue and whatever doubts they had, those 3 men were chosen because they had the mental capacity to keep their thoughts on the goal instead of on the outer conditions. The title of my talk today is About Face, just like in the military. And I'm talking about turning our attention from the doubt and from the fear and from the concerns to the truth with a capital T, to that realm of the infinite where all possibility exists. I'm talking about taking our attention off of the difficulties and off of the negative predictions and off of the stories that we make up and tell ourselves, or the stories that other people make up and tell us, to the truth with a capital T. I'm talking about taking our focus off of the speculation and the doubt and the fear, even taking our focus off of this material realm, this realm of duality where there is right and wrong, where there is dark and light, and instead turning it to the absolute, where there is no right and wrong, good or bad. There is simply the absolute, infinite potential, boundless good, absolute presence of the divine. That it is the very essence of creative intelligence, the very essence of all power. And we do that through prayer. The practice of affirmative prayer moves our minds and our focus and our thinking and our beliefs off of the fear to a place of trust and a place of faith. It moves us to a place of peace and a place of openness. And in turn, what happens then is we actually become more open and accessible and available to the good that is already available to us, but is just not yet in form. As we believe in possibility, as we believe in the availability of that infinite potential to us, we are then able to draw that specific good to us. One of the core concepts in the science of mind says, In the infinite nature of God, all conceivable good is eternally available, ready to flow into human experience. Through some cosmic process, this flow of good is activated and or increased by human belief, faith, and acceptance. That means all of the peace, all of the love, all of the abundance, all of the wisdom, all of the creativity, all of the power is already in existence. It's already available. It just needs an inlet. And our open consciousness, our consciousness of belief in it, creates that inlet for it to flow. Ernest Holmes, the founder of this philosophy, said, "Treatment is not for the purpose of making things happen. It is to provide within ourselves an avenue through which they may happen." We create an avenue within ourselves for that good to flow into our lives when we take our focus and attention off of what isn't working and what we don't like and how hard things are and how difficult and how impossible to that realm of possibility, recognizing that it is already available and right where we are. Prayer moves us out of fear and doubt because prayer convinces us that there is more than what we are seeing with our human eyes. It convinces us that there is more than what we see on the surface and more than just this material world. We take our focus and remind ourselves that there is an unchanging principle, that there is an unwavering principle and power that is within everything. That presence, that power, that principle is a principle of wholeness. It is a principle of perfection. It is a principle of creativity and of order and of balance and of beauty and of love. And that principle is within everything, back of everything, at the center of everything, simply awaiting our recognition and our acceptance of it. It's the same thing that they're talking about in quantum physics when they say that everything exists simultaneously as waves of possibility. But it takes an observer, it takes someone noticing for that wave to collapse into a piece, a fact, a particle of actuality. Our beliefs and our expectations and our looking for it cause that which is in infinite potential to collapse into a fact, to collapse into a particle. It comes out of the field of all possibility. It becomes an actuality in our lives. Our recognition of it, our opening in our consciousness to it, enables it to express itself more fully than it was before. Søren Kierkegaard, who was a Danish philosopher, theologian, poet, and author during the 1800s, said, "The function of prayer is not to influence God, but rather to change the nature of the one who prays." Praying, an affirmative prayer, changes our nature. It changes our expectations. It changes our beliefs. It changes how we feel inside. Prayer and meditation moves us from a perspective of being stuck into the perspective that there is a creative intelligence that fills our lives. That intelligence leads us and guides us. That intelligence reveals within us the way to go and the how to do and the what to do. Affirmative prayer moves us from thinking and believing that there is no solution, that there is no way out, to the reality and the realization that we live in this field of infinite potential, that we live in this field of creativity, that we live in this field of boundlessness and of possibility and of order. Prayer moves us from experiencing ourselves as victims of this world or victims to the world to a realm of limitlessness and creativity, where we create a new cause through our new thinking and feeling and expectations and experience. Here we create a new cause. But what happens is we must believe it first before we can actually bring that thing into our lives. So affirmative prayer is a tool. It's a tool to feel and to sense and to know and to experience reality, capital R reality, in our minds. There's a quote that I read that I really like, and I don't know who said it. It says, "Those who consciously know the truth are those who experience the truth, because the truth is present whether they know it or not. 2 times 2 is 4, even in the presence of those who don't know it. But for it to be of any benefit, 2 times 2 must be consciously known." When we know that presence and power fills our lives, when we know that we live in a limitlessness, and that is the very fabric of our being, when we know that, then we activate it, and then we create an avenue for it to come into our lives and to express itself. But it doesn't happen as easily for us until we know it. So knowing that peace already is present opens us to the peace that actually is. Knowing that perfection and wholeness are the very nature of our beingness changes our vibration so that we can draw to us that which vibrates like it, because like attracts like. So as we know that perfection and wholeness and balance and order are innate to our beingness, that becomes the physical experience. As we know that abundance is the nature of life, it causes us to expect the good to show up in our lives. And that in turn invites it in and creates an opening for it. Everything is already available in potential. And the very nature of life, of the universe, of God, is to express fully. So that means the universe is not withholding anything from us. We create the avenue for it to come into our lives, or we create the blockage so that it cannot come into our life. And so our job then is to do that about face. Our job is to stop paying so much attention to what isn't working and what we don't like, to take our attention off of the worry and the fretting, and to remind ourselves of the truth, that truth with a capital T. And that doesn't mean that we pretend that what's happening in our lives isn't happening. It doesn't mean that we pretend it isn't real, that it isn't our experience. It is real. It's real with a small r. That's because this physical world of the material is always changing. It is always in flux. It is always moving, building up and breaking down. Nothing here in this world is permanent. But we remind ourselves of that which is permanent, that which is eternal and unchanging, that which is within and behind and at the center of everything. And that is the fullness and the allness of God, always where we are. And so we do spiritual mind treatment or affirmative prayer. We do our affirmations. We tell ourselves that there is a bigger story than the one that I'm seeing. So when you get stuck, pray. When you feel fear, pray. When you get stuck in doubt, pray. When you get caught up in the fear that's going on, or the stories or the speculation, pray. Remind yourself of the bigger picture, that God is at the center of this. All the intelligence that there is at the center of this, and good is at the center of this. And that is what is seeking to unfold itself. And if you don't know how to do affirmative prayer, call one of our practitioners. They are happy to do affirmative prayer with you. And if there's something really big going on in your life, or you're feeling really stuck, call one of them or email one of them or me and ask us to actually write you an affirmative prayer that you can read over and over and over to yourself. There's an app that you can actually get that's called the Pocket Practitioner that has lots of affirmative prayers on it that you can read. Get the book 365 Days of Richer Living that we read out of all the time. It is a fabulous tool to shift your focus from feeling stuck or that things are challenging to the truth, to move us to a bigger picture and an expanded viewpoint. The Science of Mind magazine has daily affirmations in it that are so good and inspiring. Take a class and learn how to do affirmative prayer yourself. But affirmative prayer is a powerful tool. It is a powerful tool to move us out of doubt and out of fear and out of concern to a place of faith and trust and peace. And it enables us to shift what is happening in our material world in ways that sometimes seem like magic. And so my invitation to you is to spend time daily reminding yourself of that power, of that presence, of that infinite intelligence, of that absolute beingness of the divine. To remind yourself that all of the power and all of the intelligence is the fabric of who you are, the fabric of your life, the fabric of everything in this material world. And then you'll be moving through the changes in your life, the things that are different in your life, the transitions in your life with a greater sense of peace and a greater sense of ease and more confidence and more faith and more trust, which is really what we're all looking for. And so blessings to you on this path of self-discovery, this path of remembering from whence you have come and what it is that you live in and what it is that lives in you. Blessings to each and every single one of you. And so I invite you to join me in an affirmative prayer. And so that is what I do right now, is I take my thoughts and my attention and my feeling nature and let it just marinate in this presence. This presence that is a presence of absolute intelligence, that is a presence of love, that is the very fabric and essence of creativity. It is that from which all things in this entire universe have sprung forward from. I look at the creativity all around me of every animal and every plant and every tree and the clouds and the ocean and how the world works together, and migratory impulses and intuition, all of that. How marvelous it is. That is all the activity of that intelligence that is so far beyond my own comprehension. That creative intelligence. And so I recognize that that is at the center of my life. That is at the center of your life. That is the fabric out of which each and every one of us was created. So that outermost God and that innermost God and all of those qualities are one here within us. And so I know that I or you, none of us can ever be separate from this presence, for it is the very essence of who we are. And so today we walk into our lives and through our days walking in this presence and with this presence and as this presence. So today I claim and I know that it leads us and guides us into paths of fulfillment, into paths of joy and of peace and of ease, that it leads us and guides us and reveals to us the way to go, the answer to every question, the solution to every seeming problem. For that is the nature of God, to unfold itself. And so today we show up as grateful recipients. We show up as conduits, open, with an affirming yes to that divine presence and all of the good that it contains. And out pours a blessing. And so I give thanks for this life that is so filled with good. This life that is so filled with love and with joy and with opportunity and with potential. And I release this prayer into that creative law of the universe, knowing that right now it is unfolding in each and every single one of our lives because we have said yes to it. And so I release this prayer, and in gratitude I say, and so it is. And so thank you so much for joining us here at Living Beyond Limits. I wanted to remind you that we are having a Zoom call this coming Thursday evening at 7 p.m. It is a time to do some spiritual practice with each other together and to have some time to share with each other. I ask some introspective questions to help you come up with your own answers and get to share those answers with each other that helps stir some more knowing inside of us. And it's just a joyful time and a time of love and of connection, of being together, and it's delightful. If we do not have your email address, if you are not receiving that notice, I invite you to email us at livingbeyondlimitscsl@gmail.com, and we will make sure that you get that notice. I also want to let you know that not next week, but the week after, we are actually going to be having a question and answers in the science of mind. Reverend Tracy and I are going to get together. We're going to do that instead of the regular talk. So what we'd like you to do is to send me your questions. You can email them to that address, or you can text me, or you can call me. If there's something you would like clarification on, anything about the principles that we teach, anything that doesn't make sense to you, or anything you're not quite clear about, anything you want to know more about, send me those questions and we will work on them this week, and then you'll be able to see that online. It'll be really fun. We want to thank you for your continued support of Living Beyond Limits. I so appreciate all of your prayers and all of your energy and all of your financial support to us. It is enabling us to continue to do what we do so that when we come back together again, we will be able to continue doing what we normally do with musicians and people and being together and all the love that we get to share with each other. Also, to let you know that we are still doing Ministry of Prayer. So if you have a prayer request, you can email it to that address, or you can call or text Barbara Conant or email Barbara Conant, and she will send that out. And the minister, and the practitioners are happy to support you during the week in knowing that that thing that you are looking for and longing to have is making its way into your life right now, available, present, and active within you. And so blessings to you this week. Have a wonderful week. I will see you back here next week. And in the meantime, lots of love to you. See you soon.